Welcome. I'm Travis.
And I'm Tyler, and this is Strategies for Success, a show that explores many topics while aiming to equip listeners with simple and practical lessons you can use in your everyday life.
Now join us on our journey as we reach for the impossible. Hi guys, and welcome to Strategies for Success. I'm Trav.
And I'm Tyler.
Today we've got a very interesting show. We're going to be talking about defining success. And we've got a special guest here. I want to introduce my dad, Mike McCrate, Tyler's grandpa.
Yep.
Mike, are you on here with us?
Yes, I am. Thanks for inviting me, guys.
Hey, we're glad to have you. We've got him on a remote connection. It might have a little bit of interference, a little bit of a delay, but one thing that we thought would be unique, I'm in my mid-30s, Tyler's in his 20s, and success is different for everybody. And we thought, let's talk to someone that can tell us, spanning an entire career, what success looks like to them. So go ahead.
Well, what I've learned in my life is success means different things to different people. And I've seen people, I've observed life in third world countries where success there might just be having a pair of shoes, a roof over your head, and something to eat 2 or 3 times a day. And success to a professional athlete might be winning a Super Bowl or a World Series. A movie star, it might be winning an Oscar. And to a billionaire, it might be buying out all of his competitors and making $2 or $3 more billion. But when I started my career, my goal was to find a company with a product that I could believe in and that had good benefits and a good retirement plan. And I thought if I had a 3-bedroom brick home and a decent car to drive and was able to provide for my family, at that point in my life, I thought that would be success.
Do you think that in your early career that, obviously I watched for several years, maybe in the last 20 or so that we worked together at the store. And I'll just throw this out here. A lot of my words of wisdoms and things that I steal from my dad that he imparted to me. And as I've got older, I've learned that I've got a little more wise, and I realized Dad was really right about a lot of stuff, but the looking over your career, you talked about how you were more eager, maybe go-getter, different perspective as a younger man versus maybe toward the end of your career when you were looking to retire.
Well, one thing my dad told me at one point in my life that really soaked in, and my dad worked for a major oil company for 42 years, and I don't think he ever enjoyed what he did at all, but he had a good job, provided for his family, always had a decent car to drive, and he had the 3-bedroom brick home, but he wasn't happy. And he told me, he said, you really have had a good career because you've done something that you've enjoyed, and that's true. I really enjoyed what I did. I worked for a company that had a product that I really liked and I believed in, and I enjoyed going to work every day. And you think that during the times when you're in there in the grind every day that boy, you just can't wait till you retire. But looking back on my career, those times when you're going through the tough times, that's really the highlight of your goal, is reaching for success. Once you get there, sometimes it's like these young guys that start out in a movie career or something when they're a child, and they become famous as a child. And a lot of times by the time they're 30 years old, they're suicidal, because they're not happy.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think are some of the ways someone can help figure out what success is to them? There's certain kind of questions that you've came up with to ask yourself that helped you define your success.
Well, I don't know how you can I don't know how you can define success to someone else. I think that's something that has to come from within. But
Mm-hmm.
one thing that always drove me to be successful was a fear of failure. And I know a lot of people don't have that, and some people would say, "Well, that's a bad thing," but it can be a bad thing if it just drives you to the point of despair. But I always worked a little harder because I thought that if I didn't, I was going to fail. So, but really, success is having the ability to provide for your family and then enjoy what you have while you're going through life. And if I
Mm-hmm.
looking back on my career, I missed a lot of that. I should have taken more time to get out and smell the roses, so to speak, and enjoy life a little more with my family.
Well, and I don't remember if it was you that told me this or I heard this from somebody else, but they were kind of defining success by, on your final day, when you're laid up in front of a church and you're getting ready to be put 6 feet under. And it's talked about the impact that you have on people. How you were a success because you got a room full of people that you made a difference in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's true, and I'll tell you, as you get older, uh, I've started to realize more and more every day that they say you can't take it with you, but you don't really have anything or own anything long term. Whatever you have, is gonna when you're gone, it's gone to someone else, or you can't take it with you. So enjoy what you have while you're here, and life's pretty short. So find something you enjoy and give it all you got, and be honest and work hard, and I think that's success right there.
Absolutely. Well, hey, we're getting ready to wrap up the show, and we want to thank you for being on with us tonight. You
Yeah,
got
thank you.
any final words for us?
No, I'll tell you, like I say, I think finding a spouse that is a good helpmate, that's probably the most important thing that you can do in your life to help you in your career. And enjoy your family, and work hard, and that's what it's all about.
And listen to your dad.
That's right.
That's correct.
Uh, all right. Well, thanks for being on with us. This is our first guest, and we're glad
Yeah,
to have
thank
you
you.
on.
Yep. Good first guest.
Well, thanks for inviting me, guys.
Yeah.
All right. We'll
Hope
be
that
talking to
helps
you
some.
later.
All right, bye now.
Well, guys, that was our first live guest, and that was something new that we thought we would try. We're going to continue this on. We've got a lineup of different people and different backgrounds, but I thought it was very interesting to bring on Dad. You might say, why you call him Mike? Well, when you're in business, you don't page, hey, Dad, line one, or introduce a customer. This is Dad. So
Yeah.
I thought he would have some words of wisdom.
Yeah, and I think we've kind of talked about it in other episodes, but I think it hits home more when you talk to someone that's older and been through a lot of stuff. But a lot of people nowadays view success as just chasing money or chasing the next thing that you want to buy or the next experience or whatever that may be. And a lot of times once people get those things, they realize that's really not what they should have been defining success as, because that's only a temporary high. It really doesn't last very long.
Yeah, just talking to him, that was a different perspective even for me. We didn't really give him a whole lot of information other than defining success and gave him some time to come put something together. But, one thing growing up that we did every year at Christmas, and this always comes back when we're talking about success, and especially when we're preparing for this episode, it was just on my mind. It's an old Christmas movie. It's one of those that plays every year. I see it even on streaming services, but it's the old It's a Wonderful Life. And so George Bailey, main character in the movie, he's got his whole life planned out. He's going to go out and he's going to be a success, and he's defined success as rich, famous, travel the world. And as the movie progresses, he ends up taking over the family business, and things don't go exactly as planned. He never leaves town for something big or better, and he ends up looking at all of his friends doing great things. Now he gets married, falls in love, and they have a family, but he's never been a success. He always puts others first. He when times get tough, he loans out his own money at his building and loan that he runs, and he's always trying to help people. Into the movie, he ends up in a financial crisis, and you think, man, it's over. George is, he's thinking about ending it right there out on a bridge, looking in the icy water. and an angel appears. You know, it's kind of a little bit comical there, but it's neat old movie. But he ends up back at his house, and when he comes in, all of his friends and family and people that he had met along the way throughout his life, the ones that he had helped, the ones that when he was helping, he thought he was a nobody, but they all showed up and they're putting money in a hat, raising money to help George through this hard time. Those seeds of good deeds that he had done, he had reaped a harvest of love and friendship. And one thing that always stuck out to me is in that episode, he says, one of the people shouts out and says, "George Bailey, the richest man in town." And they're not talking about the money, you know,
Right.
it's because all of his friends that he had.
Yep, that's right. Well, now it's the time of the episode everybody's been waiting for. It's
Challenge.
time for the challenge. So,
That's right. Hey, guess what? It's time for the challenge. Let's try.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
there we go.
Everyone,
We're trying new things with every one of these episodes.
everyone's excited. So this one involves a lot of thinking here, but I want everybody to think of 5 things that make you feel happy and truly fulfilled. Write these things down. These are likely your measures of success. This will help lead you to think of ways you can do these things more often to feel successful. So that's it involves a lot of thinking. You really got to get deep with yourself a little bit, but when you think of things that make you feel truly fulfilled and truly happy, that's probably what you view success as, and that's your definition of success and will help you further in your life.
You know, and it's good to talk to somebody you trust and get their input. But
That's right.
I'll tell you this, we've gave you the challenge. We've gave you some advice. We've had some great guests on today, and now it's time to
execute. Thank you for learning with us.
join us next time as we reach for the impossible. I'm Travis,
And I'm Tyler.
and this is
Strategies for Success.